You'll recognize the site. Many of the designs have landmarks in them that you will recognize. The Moving Haida, Sarkoa Restaurant. This, of course, is the site, the Hamilton Harbor, and you can see Houston Street coming down here. This red building is now gone. Now, a lot of people are making a mistake. We say Pier 8, and everyone thinks it's about what's going here. Those are a bunch of buildings. They are not designed yet. Chris is working on them very hard at the moment. There's other people working on those. We are talking about the park here. Now, all of the design teams have put buildings in there so you can understand what it'll look like based on urban design studies that have been done. In fact, some designers have been very keen and actually design buildings that match their park. Thank you very much for doing that extra work, but it's really not required. Someone else will do that. The other thing to think about when looking at this is there actually is going to be a slope across this park. The new buildings are going to be up about 2 meters about 2 meters above where grade is now. So the park actually slopes down to the water. So when you're looking at the park designs, be thinking about that as well. So quickly, go over the process. This is the boring stuff, but important. Chris already talked about, we did a pre-qual. The 6 teams here were pre-qualified. Each team prepared a design proposal for the park, responding to a series of design objectives, including a series of program requirements, and each one is being constructed for a construction budget of $6,490,000. Each team provided a cost report to confirm that, and a fixed consultant fee. If any of you have picked up the comment forms, you'll see those design objectives and programs there so you can look at it. Proposals have been reviewed by staff to determine that they are meeting all the basic requirements, health, safety, accessibility, the cost is at or below budget. And at that point, on that point, we're asking each team today when they're doing their presentation to identify anything in their budget, anything that they've shown in their proposal that isn't actually included in that base budget. We have assumed that in the future the park's going to change, and we've allowed and asked for the design teams to propose ideas for the future, but we want to make sure the public's clear that we're adjudicating on that budget and what's going to happen in the first phase. Public consultation begins today and will end September 10th. There's all sorts of information online about that. And finally, a jury of sector experts who are here today with us will meet the week of September 11th to select a winning proposal based on context, design excellence, response to the design objectives, and the results of the public consultation that's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. The winning design team will then enter into a contract with the city to complete detailed design to prepare documents to implement their design, starting construction in early 2018. So I'd just like to remind everybody, these are preliminary design concepts. These aren't detailed design concepts yet, so they could change. And I would also, and along that line, as we get into detail work about shore wall and other things, things may change. The design intent overall shouldn't change. A lot of the big moves shouldn't change, except in one case. Some people have proposed in their design things beyond the shore wall that go out into the harbor. There's some various barges, bridges, platforms, and things like that. We cannot guarantee that we will be able to implement those as they're shown here. We need approvals from other levels of government, from the harbor commissioner and people like that to do that. So we're definitely, the teams, we have communicated with them all, they're interested in moving forward with possibly having to revise their designs, if that is the case. So that's why we're allowing them to move forward. So not everything you see here is going to be exactly as built, but hopefully it's going to be really, really close. So on to the lucky people who get to spend their time working with these designs and trying to select a winner. They volunteered their times. They're here today. They'll be back in September for a day-long meeting to make the decision. First of all, Nadia Ambrosio. She has her own business and is a professor of landscape architecture at the University of Guelph. Shelley Faulkner, who is the CEO of this wonderful institution. She'll be helping us talk about art and culture in the designs. Kelly Gilbride, an architect and an engineer with the firm of SBA in Toronto, also an expert in heritage. Eric Hess, a recently retired landscape architect. Used to work for the City of Toronto and has been instrumental in a lot of the design work that's happened at the waterfront to date. Linda Irvine, a manager of Parks and Open Spaces Development for Markham, Ontario, a fellow municipal person, and a former chair of the Ontario Association of Landscape Architects. James Baraka, urban designer and architect with the City of Toronto. And finally, Mario Patitucci. He has a landscape architecture firm here in Hamilton called Adesso Design, and he sits on the city's design review panel. So, on to what we're going to do today. Each team is going to have 20 minutes to introduce their team and present their proposal, followed by 10 minutes of questions. Their proposal, they're going to be presenting their panels as they're presented here, as you've seen already. They'll be projected on the wall. The jury will then be given an opportunity to ask questions of clarification. Not provide comments, just trying to better understand the design, anything missing, any specific features they want to know about. The public will also be given that opportunity once the jury's completed their questions. If you have opinions or questions about the process, we want your opinions, but we want you to write them down on the web or on a comment form and give them to us so we can record them and give them all to the jury before the end of the process. So we don't want to hear them now. I'm sure they're really good, but keep them, write them down, and send them back to us formally. And if you have any questions about the process, there's a bunch of staff people that Chris already talked about. If you guys could put your hands up, feel free to ask them or myself any process questions. Hopefully that'll keep things moving along more quickly.